Hi, Dan here. Hope you're doing really well. I got a really great question about how to play bass fills smoothly and transition from a bass fill back into a line properly. I had someone that sent me an email and they said, you know, the line's fairly confident with that. It's just he noticed that when he was playing fills and coming back into the main bass line, that it was sort of falling off the rails a bit. So the first tip I would have is just, that's great that he identified that as an issue. The second thing is that needs to now become part of your practice routine every day, or as close to every day. That's one thing you're going to focus on and practice until it feels more comfortable. That's how you know you're better at something, when the thing that was difficult is no longer difficult. So this backing track you can download for free. I'll put a link below. But we're in the key of F minor. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, because the very next video I'm going to do is to teach you over this same backing track how to build the bass line from those chord progressions. But today is fills. So we've got F minor pentatonic. And what I'll do is I'll just play a few fills and I'll show you how you can first construct some cool fills using very simple scales like that F minor pentatonic. And if you add one note to that, you get the blues scale. Let me just show you the scale here. So we're on the 8th fret of the A string, that's F. So we're going 8, 11, then 8, 10, 8, 10 on the D and the G. So the 8, 11 is on the A, and the 8, 10 is on the D and the G. Add that 9th fret on the D string. You get the blues scale. So just that very simple shape will give you lots of options for fills. I say that very simple shape. One of the tips that I really recommend that you do is to learn that in different places. There it is down there, starting on the 1st fret of the E. There it is starting on the 3rd fret of the D until I run out of bass string. Now it's almost like I'm doing a solo or isolating that to get fills, but the question was, how do you transition smoothly from one to the other? You need to know what the note selection is, so what notes on the fretboard you can play. That's absolutely crucial. You can't be wondering as you're doing a fill if these notes are going to work, so you've got to know the shapes. Absolutely 100%. Let me show you a fill. So that's a little slide. I'm sliding into the F on the 8th fret of the A. I'm doing that with my 3rd finger from about 2 frets below. Then I'm going 6, 8 on the D string. I'm just making this up. Okay, and then that's fingers 1 and 3. Then sliding out from the 8th to the 10th on the D string. Then you return to position and you've got frets 6 and 8 all on the D string. And then 8 on the A string, and back to the 6 on the D string. It's a bit odd for me to explain what I'm doing because I'm just doing this as we go. But I'm using slides, short notes, vibrato, articulations to make the fill sound good. So what you could do, even without the backing track, is just explore. So what I mean by that is don't have a metronome and don't have a backing track. Just like this. So the chord progression, we've got F minor, A flat major 7, D flat major 7, C minor 7, okay? I'm just going to play the roots. F, A flat, D flat, C. F on the 1st fret, A flat on the 4th fret, both on the E string, and then 4th fret to the 3rd fret of the A string. Fills usually sound good at the end of a phrase, so there, bar 4. There I did a similar fill to the one before, but shorter. And I've got to get from there. This is the transition, like in this instant. I've got to get from there to there. So I've got no backing track, I've got no metronome. I'm just exploring how I might do this. Okay, little slide. Okay, a hand shift. So this is what I'm realizing with this, is that my shifting has to be good. So this is a technical issue. If you're finding that when you're playing a bass fill, you're not getting back in time, it's because your hand isn't moving fast enough, so you have to work on your hand shifts. So in this instance, Look, I've got to go from the sixth fret, the D string, all the way down to the first fret, the E string, and that's just moving quickly. It just might be as simple as that. You're just not moving quick enough. So set your metronome slow once you got that down. You have it about there. Okay. You could have a few set sort of licks or riffs under your fingers that you call on, that you know. So now I do make this up as I go, but probably I have just explored this enough that each of these are sort of like little phrases that are in there somewhere. Let's move on to the next section. That goes B flat minor 7, C minor 7 to F minor 7. Again, I'm going to fill at the end of the phrase. So look, I'm going all the way from the first fret all the way up the octave. So what did I do? So we've got that shape where you're going fret 13, 16, and then 13, 15. 13, 16 on the E. And then 13, 15 on the A, D, and G. That little shape there. So after the fill, that section, B flat minor 7, C minor 7, F minor 7. So if I'm doing a fill at the end of the phrase, I've got to get back to a B flat. So we need to know shapes really well. So in this case, the F minor, but we also really need to know the progression, the bass line that we're playing really well, because I need to get back to B flat. So you've got to get used to, as you're playing a fill, you might be really in the moment because it sounds really cool and you're really excited about the fill, but you have to be thinking one step ahead. A bit like when you're driving and, you know, if you're about to turn a corner, you need to see what's in front of you, or not a corner, but you just need to see as far in front of the car as possible. And when you're playing a fill, you've got to think one step ahead. So I'm doing the fill here. And I'm thinking and sort of looking, there's the B flat. Take that section and just cycle that round and round and round again. One good thing to do is just to practice staying in one position. So like there, I'm on the 6th fret of the E string. Make sure you do subscribe, because the next lesson is going to be how to make up these bass lines. But we've got this little shape here. So I'm going a root note, that's the 6th fret. 2 frets across, 1 string down is the 5th. Back to the 6th fret on the D string, that's the minor 7th. 2 frets higher as the octave. You can use that for C minor 7 as well, same shape, just 2 up. And then go to the A string, same shape. So. No hand shifting there because I'm doing the fills all in one location. That's the first shape I showed you in the lesson. Not only do you need to know it in this position, starting with your first finger, but maybe here as well, starting with your little finger. All about increasing your options, making sure you know the shapes, and then knowing exactly where you're going after the fill. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to follow the link and download that free backing track, because this is where you can put it into practice. You can fill any way you like really, but in music you tend to hear fills at the end of phrases, so the end of sort of bar 4, you'll hear that. So play through, stick to root notes if you don't really know how to make up a bass line, you know, from a chord progression, just improvising as I was doing. If you want to know how to do that, the next video I probably will take this exact same chord progression and show you exactly what to do. But just play root notes and then do fills using the F minor pentatonic scale. Again, I've got a sheet on that. I'll put a link to that as well. And what you're doing is you're practicing the very the very thing that you want to get good. I know that sounds a bit silly, but sometimes people don't have a very, very clear set goal of what they need to do when they're playing. So you look at the deficiency, you write it down in your journal, and you practice that every day until that becomes good, and then you move on to something else, and that's how you get good at this, okay? It is focusing on it, deliberately focusing on the thing that you need to be good at. You'd be amazed at how many people just don't do that. The first step is identifying, there is an issue here, and that's the thing that you need to tidy up. So I hope I gave you a few ideas that you can use. If any questions came from this, or things that I missed, or you want explained a little bit more, all you do is you just leave a comment and I will get back to you. I'll get back to every comment. Or you can send me an email at onlinebasecourses.com. If you head over there, there's plenty of free resources for you there and loads more lessons. And if you've got any questions, let me know, and I'll often, like this one, I'll do a video on a query that you have. So thanks very much for watching. Do subscribe and have a great day. See you next time.